We have Stephen A. Smith, who is going to join us now. Hi, Stephen A. I guess I have to ask you right off the top here, what is your reaction? James Harden to Philadelphia and Ben Simmons to Brooklyn.
Well, I'm not a fool. I understand basically what RJ is saying in terms of what a fit James Harden is, because he can be electrifying, and we get that. And I certainly want to give my man Big Perk props in terms of what he said about how Philadelphia had to do something. But I also, in saying that, I want to say for the record, this could potentially, not definitively, but this could potentially go down as the worst day in the career of Daryl Morey. The worst day. Think about this for a second here. You gave up a shooter in Seth Curry. I hear that he can't guard, and Herder got 27 on him in the playoffs. Stop it. The bottom line is he's one of the premier shooters in the game, okay? You think about him, he's gone. You gave up 2 first-round picks. How do you go from asking for first-round picks to giving up 2 of them? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And so when I look at it from that perspective and whatever else they gave up, when you think about Ben Simmons and how he complements KD and Kyrie, what he brings to the table in terms of his playmaking ability, his ball handling skills, his basketball IQ, and first and most importantly, his defensive prowess. There's no question, along with Andre Drummond, a big body that Brooklyn desperately needed, because we know they were a bit thin on their front line. You take all of those things into consideration, I don't think there's any doubt that Brooklyn benefits from this trade. Now, when you look at Harden, Harden clearly can be electrifying. And did James Harden all of a sudden, is he going to take off some kind of bodysuit and be thinner today?
Well, he did it last year.
Hold on, wait a minute. These are rhetorical questions, RJ. Stay with me, okay? Is he going to lose weight? Is he going to get younger? Is the hamstring injury suddenly going to disappear? What I'm saying to you is this. We're watching. What we've been watching over the last couple of years, as great as we know he is, he hasn't been himself, meaning the guy that Daryl Morey was overseeing in Houston. And because he hasn't been that guy, I'm wondering how long can he be that guy, because I have no doubt he can do it. How long can he be that guy in Philadelphia? Because with KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons, and an extra big body on your front line in Brooklyn, I see Brooklyn as the clear winner in this deal.
Do you agree with that, Big Perk? Clear winner?
No, he know I don't agree with it. That's why he's so close up on the screen, because he know I'm about to read him his rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be held against you in a court of law, okay? Let me tell you this. First of all, James Harden, last year when he got to Brooklyn, was playing phenomenal basketball to the point where people were talking about, is he the best player in the league? And he slid right on over to the point guard position. And even James Harden this year that's been struggling, Stephen A.
22, 10, and 8.
22, 10, and 8, and he don't even want to be there. So imagine a motivated James Harden, right? A motivated James Harden with a Joel Embiid. See, what Doc is going to do is move him straight to that point guard position. Now those 10 assists are going to go up to 15 assists. Because remember, you still got Tybo. You still got Tobias Harris that's still there. You still got all these guys that James Harden is so great at facilitating for others. And he's going to make the game easier for Joel Embiid. We watching Joel Embiid score over 2 or 3 people right now, but you put another superstar caliber player with him, now it opens it up for the both of them. And now James Harden is happy. He wants to be there. You know his partner Meek Mills.
Can I get in here? Can I get in this? Can I get let me get some of this. The only reason why the whole Daryl Morey thing that you're saying this might go down as one of the worst days in Daryl Morey's career, the reason why that is like actually wrong is because you took a guy that didn't want to shoot, that didn't want to score, that didn't want to do anything, and everybody was complaining he wanted out. He hasn't played all year. All of these different things, and you turned that into James Harden. You turned that into James Harden right next to Joel Embiid, who is having probably the leading candidate for the MVP right now. So even if James Harden is this version of himself, he is exponentially better than anything that Ben Simmons was going to bring to the table for the rest of the season.
Well, that's really astute on your part, what you're bringing up. I want to applaud you because you sound very eloquent in your delivery. I respect that, but that don't make you right. The fact of the matter is that you're trying to change my point of view. I'm not saying the Sixers are worse because of James Harden. I know how electrifying James Harden is, just like Big Perk said, and I know he makes them better. But who'd you give him to? If you gave him to somebody out west, I get it. If you gave it to somebody he ain't going to have to play, I understand. You sat up there with KD and Kyrie, you gave them Ben Simmons, you gave them another shooter, and you gave them a big body on a relatively thin front line. So what I'm saying is, as I said to Perk 2 days ago, but Perk didn't bring that part up. I didn't say Philly's worse because of James Harden. I know how big time of a player he is. What I'm saying is, Brooklyn, a juggernaut in and of itself, is already, they are better.
The Nets were going to have to trade James Harden when he essentially shut down last week in Sacramento. He basically decided he wasn't going to play for the Nets anymore. And once that happened, it was just a negotiation on how we got here. And were there times where this maybe was a no chance? Sure. Were there times this was very close? I'm sure there's going to be stories that come out soon about what we all went shut down. But as soon as James Harden decided he was going into Houston Harden mode, the Nets had no choice. Because the risk that they had of Harden not playing his full ability this season versus the risk they had to make in this trade, it was unbalanced. It just had to happen.
Right.
And so I think they made an excellent deal. Essentially, what they did was they went to the Sam Presti playbook. When Paul George 2 years ago went to the Thunder and said, "I want to be traded to the Clippers," Sam Presti, the Thunder GM, said, "Okay, Clippers, get your notebook out.
Yeah.
Because this is what we're asking for. We want this, 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 and this." And it took the Clippers a few days to get there. This is what happened in this deal. The Nets got there, said, "Philly, get your notebook out. It's going to be this, 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 and this." And they gave up a lot here. They gave up 2 first-round picks, which they're never going to get used by Brooklyn. They're going to get moved on. In fact, right now, Brooklyn is making and looking at making other deals. One of the reasons why they traded for Andre Drummond in this deal is because I think they're looking to trade Nick Claxton, their center, maybe out. So there's other deals happening both in Philly and in Brooklyn.
What more can you tell us about how this deal came together?
Well, Brooklyn and Philadelphia really started to negotiate in earnest today. I was told Philadelphia had checked in previous days, had lobbed offers that had been returned without a counter. But today, Brooklyn started to talk about with Philadelphia what a deal would look like, and where it lands is James Harden, who'll go along with Paul Millsap to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and then a 2022 unprotected first-round pick in this coming draft, a 2027 protected pick that might flip to 28. But obviously the key elements here, Brooklyn was ready to move off of James Harden, and it was clear he didn't want to be there anymore. They knew that, and they got enough back in their minds to try to put a team on the floor this year and then beyond that can still compete for a championship. But James Harden, listen, this has been the goal of Daryl Morey since the day he arrived in Philadelphia. He wasn't able to trade for James Harden with the Houston Rockets. The Brooklyn Nets did. And now just a year later, Harden has essentially forced his way out of a second team in consecutive years. He goes to Philadelphia. He's been paired with a lot of stars in this league, and he gets a new one. Joel Embiid, a new co-star, and Ben Simmons comes to Brooklyn. We'll see how quickly Simmons is able to be able to get into the lineup, play. Seth Curry, certainly an impactful player, especially with Joe Harris. The rest of his season uncertain with an injury, but the blockbuster is done. James Harden is headed to the Philadelphia 76ers, and Ben Simmons is going to be a net.